and these decisions are not made lightly. You're listening to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session on WBCB 1490 AM with Tommy Greene and Doug Clemens. I'm Dan Baker. We'll be right back.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. It's all new and it's all for you. The heated deck at Chicky and Pete's on the Boulevard is now open. It's enclosed, heated, and perfect for the ultimate in-game experience or live music when the best local bands take the stage. Like LeComte, Fat Mez, or Jameson. Check our website for the band schedule. The heated deck at Chicky and Pete's on the Boulevard is now open every Thursday through Sunday. Chickies and Pete's.
Millions of Americans are losing their medical assistance or Medicaid coverage. If this affects you, Independence Blue Cross can help. You may be eligible to enroll in a health plan for as little as $0 a month. With Independence Blue Cross, you get the largest provider network in the area, including most Keystone First doctors and hospitals. We also offer free 24/7 telemedicine, coverage for hospital stays and prescriptions. See if you qualify for $0 health insurance and enroll today. Call Independence Blue Cross at 1-844-464-2583 or visit ibx.com/staycovered.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
SEPTA offers a variety of career opportunities. Our core business is transit, and with 5 modes of service, we rely on and need operators, engineers, and conductors. But it takes a host of other specialties, including mechanics, electricians, plumbers, masons, painters, carpenters, welders, and more to keep the system moving. As an employee, you will earn competitive compensation and great benefits, including medical, dental, prescription, and a pension. Visit jobs.septa.org to apply today. That's jobs.septa.org.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
We now return to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Tommy Greene.
Tommy no-hit Greene, number 49, along with number 17, Doug Clemens, former Phillies outfielder. Tommy, every week, of course, the Phillies are playing well. Look at this, man. 38 and 34. Every week, our star co-host picks,
I don't know if you call him that, but
absolutely picks a Independence Blue Cross Phillies Live Fearless Player of the Week. Tommy has already made his choice.
Yes,
and he is.
Yep, and I went with a guy that hit for the cycle, and everybody knows who that was this week. It was JT Realmuto, and he didn't play in yesterday's game, but he played this week. And he had an outstanding week. I'll read you off his line he had. He played in 5 ball games for the Phils this week. He had 19 at-bats. He scored 8 runs, had 9 hits, 2 doubles, 2 triples, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs, and he hit for a 474 average this week. So he had a lot to do with the Phils winning this week. I mean, and pushing across runs and scoring runs, And that's my pick for the week. But what do you think about a catcher that can run like that guy?
He's incredible.
How about our catching staff? I mean, with him and Stubbs, they got 2 of the fastest guys in baseball.
Yes,
as far as catchers can run. I mean, it's unbelievable what they can do. They're an asset on the bases. They're not clogging them up by no stretch.
No, he's a great receiver, great arm. My God, he can throw out people at second base.
What that does to the pitching staff is unbelievable.
Yeah, and he thinks. He's very, very. He's outstanding behind the plate. I think they have the best catcher in the major leagues.
Doug, was Clay Dalrymple still the catcher on your team?
How about that name?
Yes, he was.
Number
Clay
11.
Dalrymple. I think Clay is. I know he's from Chico, California. He did some broadcasting for the Baltimore Orioles at one time, many years ago. I think He's still with us, I believe, and still back in Chico, California. Yeah.
Yeah, Tommy
It
and
took
I
him 7 seconds to get to first base.
That sound like me.
Didn't he have an issue one year throwing the ball back to the pitcher?
Mackie Sasser.
Yeah.
No,
but-
you know who that was? That was Johnny Edwards with the Cincinnati Reds, to my knowledge.
Okay.
I don't think Clay had the problem, but
okay.
there were guys like Steve Blass couldn't get it over the plate after he won 19 games. He was out of the major leagues the following year.
That's unbelievable. I call it the thing. As pitchers and stuff like, we call it the thing.
Well, they call it the Steve Blass disease. That's what it's named after.
Well, I had an instance where, you see stuff like that happen. You see pitchers get in trouble. What do they do on the mound? They tend to go to the rosin bag or something like that. I got to watching, I get to watch, I was a starting pitcher, so every fifth day I pitched. The other 4, I get to watch the best in the business do it. And then when you see guys starting to struggle a little bit out there, what did they do? They tend to go to that rosin. So when I went out there, if the rosin was on the dirt, I kicked it off the mound onto the grass. I said, I have nothing to do with that thing. That's I called it the thing. I said, hey, man, I didn't touch it. So I just went to the dirt. So it's one of those things. I've seen some guys have that kind of issue, and it's unbelievable as far as throwers are concerned. And then you got the Steve Sachs had it as a fielder. Thrower from second base to first. You weren't safe in the dugout. You won first base dugout. So.
Tommy and Doug, let's turn to the 2023 Phillies.
Yes.
And Tommy, they're on a roll, and it reminds me a little bit of the 2022 season. After Rob Thompson replaced Joe Girardi as manager, when the team was 22-29, and I think they went 65-46 the rest of the season. Could we be witnessing another type of turnaround in 2003 like we did in 2022?
I mean, there's no reason why they can't do it when they're getting on that type of page, that same page doing thing. And what it comes down to, and Doug will probably agree with that. I mean, everybody wants to see the offense and stuff like that. And score runs, in which they're doing the things to do that, the timely hits, especially the past few games, they haven't scored that many runs, but they have had timely hits and scoring those runs. But what they have had is the pitching's come around. Especially, the past week, they were like the 5th in the league with just over a 3 ERA, but they, for the last 2 weeks over this run, they've made, for that 13-2 or 11-2 run they've had, they're 3rd in baseball with an ERA at 3. So their pitching staff is right there giving it a chance for those timely hits, take the pressure off the offense where we don't have to score as much. That's the key. I think if the pitchers can just get consistent enough to keep us in that ball game and not give us those high-scoring games. And we got the guys that can push runs. I mean, that one swing of the bat can do it. Swerver's one of those guys that's been doing that.
Yeah, so there's an old axiom in baseball: good pitching beats good hitting, and that, guys, literally, how many 300 hitters are in the major leagues? A handful.
Yeah.
So they're only getting hits 3 out of 10 times. So if the pitchers can get the guys out, besides getting those 300 hitters out, average-wise, if they can get the rest of the teams out, good pitching is going to beat good hitting. And the Phillies are on a roll, and I think they have a great lineup. I think they're 5 starters. I think we're a little weak in some of those areas.
Yes.
And
need a 5th starter, if you ask me.
I saw an article in the paper yesterday, the Philadelphia Inquirer, about this kid at McGarry. I think he's at Reading.
Yes.
He's supposed to be the real deal, perhaps. And this guy that got hurt in spring training, Abel, or.
Well, no, Abel is okay. It's Painter. Painter's the guy. The guy that they were hoping that could take the bull by the horns in spring training. And we talked about this earlier in the year. During spring training, is before he made his starts, is getting through spring training. That's what they concerned. Most coaches are concerned with the players in spring training, getting through the first week of spring. And then when you get in games, getting through the first week of games unscathed.
Yeah.
Because everything tunes up. A little bit, the adrenaline gets going, you stretch out a little bit more, and that's when you're more susceptible to injury.
Well, I think
and that's what happened, I think, a little bit.
I think you would recognize that being a pitcher that in spring training as you're a rookie, this kid's only 19 at the time,
and
right?
a big boy, too. I mean,
And
he's
he-
like 6'7". I mean, he's
and
young.
he really throws hard, apparently. And
Yes.
sometimes you can overthrow, I would imagine,
Yeah.
because you're trying to impress, you're trying to make the team. You know, it really comes down to a lot of guys get injured in spring training because they're not ready to throw as hard as they could when they're in shape to throw, when the arm is in shape to throw that hard. But I hope for the best for that guy.
You know, and I've kind of heard, most of the guys that maybe, Dan, you're at every ball game. Most of the pitchers you've seen come through their system, or especially up through the big leagues, a lot of them are throwing cutters. You know, I mean, a lot of them. And when you learn a new pitch, especially stuff like that, where you're coming off the fastball, it's the pull through that you're really concentrating on when that new pitch is concerned. And I know when I learned the slider, it was a big thing for me. And my pitching coach back when I was younger was Leo Mazzoni with the Braves.
Yeah.
And he's really told me, he said, your elbow, I mean, what you're looking with that pitch is to cushion your elbow to throw it correctly, but it's also you're throwing something new, so you got to make sure you're stretched out, but also making sure you're doing the work to strengthen the muscles around that elbow. Not even more so, you're not overdoing, but you're cognizant of paying attention to taking care of yourself, you know, in between starts and doing what you need to do to maintain that the strength. And because I got a little sore, not in the elbow, it was just in the muscles and stuff, but I could tell a difference. But once I got over that first week or so of learning it, you know, and throwing it right, it took off. I never had any elbow problems. I don't know if that's something that might have happened to Painter. Because I mean that was his elbow he had issues with. It doesn't take but one pitch. You get around it and expose it. You know, that elbow, it could jump on you. Sometimes that happens. Being a young guy,
it's amazing how many times we hear about Tommy John surgery.
Yeah,
and that's an amazing thing.
We have to take a break. We're halfway through tonight's edition of the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session, live from Chickies and Pete's in Parks Casino, Ben Salem, Pennsylvania. We'll be right back.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. It's all new and it's all for you. The heated deck at Chicky and Pete's on the Boulevard is now open. It's enclosed, heated, and perfect for the ultimate in-game experience or live music when the best local bands take the stage. Like LeComte, Fat Mez, or Jameson. Check our website for the band schedule. The heated deck at Chicky and Pete's on the Boulevard is now open every Thursday through Sunday. Chickies and Pete's.
At Independence Blue Cross, we believe in giving you the tools you need to pursue your healthiest life. From premiums as low as $0 per month to health discounts and cash rewards, it pays to have coverage with Independence. With the strongest network of doctors and hospitals in the region and free 24/7 virtual doctor visits, you can feel confident that quality care is always within reach. Learn more about your coverage options at ibx.com.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
There really is nothing like a home team advantage. That's why Team Toyota makes a great choice for your next vehicle purchase or service. With our MVP pricing guarantee, teammate rewards program, and streamlined customer experience, our award-winning operation ensures that you can trust our process. A home team advantage is nothing without the community. Our employees are part of our family, part of your town, and we're all part of the team. We're always here for you at one of our 3 locations in Princeton, Langhorne, and Glen Mills, or at teamtoyota.net.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
We now return to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Tommy Greene.
Hey everybody, can you see this photo in front of me? This picture was taken in Montreal, Canada, the day that Tommy Greene pitched a no-hitter against the Expos. Now, if somebody can name all of the people in this photo, Tommy Greene is going to award you this picture. I don't know if how well our live audience can see it.
Oh, I know who it is.
All right. So you got anybody else want to try? Steve and Ellen?
Nope. Nope.
Ellen, you want to take a guess? We got, thanks to Steve, we got 3 of them.
No, ain't that old.
Wally?
Aaron Fletcher was the catcher, Wally Backman, and God, who was playing?
Can I tell them, give them a hint?
Sure.
First baseman.
Okay.
Sir, want to try it?
But he wasn't the regular first baseman.
It's not correct. Is it?
Sean Steinbacher.
Ricky Jordan.
Is that right?
Ricky.
From Tommy Greene to Sean Steinbacher.
How about that?
There you
Good
go.
job.
Steve, you got us 3/4 of the way there. Oh.
No, I thought you were getting ready to make them ask who was the starting lineup for that
Hey, Steve,
game. That was because we had the B squad out there.
Because you got the first 3, you get that too. All right.
I thought you were going to ask who the starting lineup was because we had the B squad that day. It was like a 12:05 getaway day in Montreal.
Doug, here's another question I'd like to ask both you and Tommy. Comparing the 2022 Phillies and the 2023 Phillies, comparable? Is one stronger than another? Of course, there's a few personnel changes, a lot of similarities.
I think the double play combination is terrific now, and
Yeah.
for the 23 Phillies. And Trey Turner, a lot of people were disappointed in his first quarter of the year, but my goodness, he just came into the organization, and
That's a big deal, man.
It is a big deal, and the weight of that huge contract on his back. But he has so much talent. He's so quick. He is a good fielder. He hits for a 300 average, and I think we're going to see him progress up on the batting average as the season progresses on. I think last year I thought Nola was a better pitcher last year at this juncture.
That's hard to repeat. That's a big-time thing, man.
It is.
You ask, your guys to repeat. It's very few guys do it year in, year out all the time.
That's right.
You go through your peaks and valleys, in years, so to speak. You have your up years and you have your down years a little bit. It's not how good you are when you're at your best. It's how you survive when you're not. Can you survive? Can you still give quality innings and keep your team in ball games and stuff like that? And that's what I think he's going through a little bit right now. Is searching that a little bit because every year is a little bit different.
It's always been interesting to me to see where the pitcher comes out after 100 pitches, almost religiously, or maybe 110,
or not
maybe
even that.
95. But the other day, I saw part of the game, and where were they the other day?
And they were in Oakland.
At Oakland, they took the pitcher out about 4.5 innings with a man
Taiwan
on.
Walker,
I mean, he wasn't. I mean, I was talking about actually Oakland did. I was surprised because there weren't any run. There was maybe one man on, and he was facing a
and he was throwing the ball pretty good, man.
He was facing a left-hand hitter, and they brought in a left-hander in the 4th inning. I'm kind of surprised at that they don't allow the pitchers to go beyond where they are. And you're carrying, what do you carry, 11 pitchers on
there's more than that now. They're 13 or 14.
Are they really?
Now, staff.
Wow.
Staff-wise. That's what's so amazing about it. And it probably – y'all probably didn't carry as many as we carried. We carried 10 back when I pitched. You had a lot of starting pitchers. They went on 4 days rest, so they were pitching more and more. You know, they might have had 5 men in the bullpen, but they carried, 4 starters and went. You know, that's the way they did it back then. And now it's completely different. They play a matchup game so early in games, it's unbelievable.
Well, it's interesting because in the 60s when I played, 50s, 60s, 70s, whatever, pitchers prided themselves on going complete games.
Complete.
I know Bobby Shantz, we were talking about Bobby Shantz. One year he had 27 complete games himself. The whole league doesn't have 27 complete games.
I know. I mean,
Robin Roberts, 31 complete games.
That's unbelievable.
I mean, those things are, and they had Jim Constandi in 1950 for the, and he started that one game. He started the first game, I believe, right?
MVP of the National League.
Yeah. And that's why we talk about, it's just it's different eras, and the game changes, it goes, and it is a game of adjustments.
Well, I'll tell you,
it is a game of adjustments, and that's what the way I look at it is, too, on the positive side, it's giving more guys the opportunity to possibly play big league baseball. Mm-hmm. And not get stuck,
Well, the other thing
back
that
in the
gives
day
them that,
like it was.
The other thing that gives them that opportunity is the expansion that happened over the last 30 years, let's say. I mean, we used to 16 teams when I started. Today we have, 30?
Yeah, at least.
30 teams or whatever. I mean, that's a lot of players that would be stuck in the minors if we only had 16 teams.
How about back in the day, guys who were stuck behind guys like Lefty or somebody in front of you, the big guys, and he couldn't get out of the minor leagues. They were just stuck.
How about I was reading today about Lou Gehrig, Lou Gehrig's disease. Wally Pipp hurts his ankle getting off a train when they were going from one place to another. In comes Lou Gehrig. Lou Gehrig played 2,134 games or something like that in a row. Wally Pipp never sniffed the field again in his life.
It's about sticking your foot in the doorway and don't let it shut.
That's right.
And it's amazing how that works out sometimes.
Be in the right place at the right time.
Yep, exactly.
So, Tommy, as we progress through the 2023 baseball season, the team that you signed with, the Atlanta Braves,
they're on fire, man.
It keeps winning. The Phillies, there's only one team that's had a better winning percentage than the Phillies over the last 13, 14 games. Atlanta
keeps winning. There's something about that organization. When things go, especially their pitching staff, they've had some guys, some injuries and stuff. They just, okay, it's next up. And they find a way, and they do have a lineup that they push runners across there. They really do, and they got some talented young guys there in that lineup, and they can they'll beat you to death. They go get them. They got one of the best players in baseball with Acuna. Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Acuna, he's unbelievable.
If you go back 10 or maybe 10 years, 15 years ago when Bobby Cox was the manager there, didn't they win at like 14 divisions in a row?
Yep.
It was incredible. Atlanta, our daughter lives in Atlanta, so I've got to watch what I say. But they have great talent and great management down there. But I like just getting back to the Phillies, I like Topper, they call him, right?
Yep.
Rob Thompson.
I think he is quiet, reserved, conservative, but everybody respects him and they love what he's doing here in Philadelphia, as I do. And we used to like Charlie Manuel too.
Yep, exactly. I think that players react. The personality of a manager is a pretty huge thing. He lets those guys do and go and get the best out of it. And he's not a yeller screamer type things, but he's a baseball guy. And he has been his whole career, and he's been around around a lot of good baseball teams, and a lot of good players, and the way he's personable with his guys, and the way he talks to guys, you can hear your words are huge things.
It's a mutual
the way
respect.
you talk to things, and they respect that.
Yeah, mutual respect. I had in Philadelphia, I had Gene Mock on the other hand. Gene Mock was a yeller and a screamer, and he was tough, but he also knew the game of baseball. He was a heck of a for strategy, he was a hell of a coach and a manager, and he let us play, and unfortunately we didn't do real well. And then he went on to California, and they lost the game with 1 out to go. They lost a chance to go to the World Series, and that's as much as I recall about that era.
And you're talking about coaches, and that's the thing about being a coach. You got to, your personnel, your player, and different players react different to the way you talk to them, and different. Some guys can handle it. Some guys or can't. You can get on a little bit
Yeah,
more,
sure.
and they react in a positive manner. They take it as constructive criticism unless you just criticizing.
That's
they don't go the other way. It's like, okay, I can, they
You
bear
gotta-
down and do better.
You got to know the personalities of the ball players,
Yeah.
individual personalities. You have 25 guys on a team making up that whole roster, and some guys react differently, just
Yes.
as you said, Tommy.
Yes.
And it's very important for you to understand psychologically, and the psychology of the game is one thing, but you have to understand the players and how they can perform physically. But we all know it's running, throwing, fielding, hitting, and hitting with power. That's what makes up the 5 attributes. And then there's the intent. The sixth thing is the attitude towards the game, the desire to play.
Tommy and Doug, if I may, I wanted to bring up general managers. You had referred to John Quinn earlier, Doug, and he was the one who orchestrated the Doug Clemens West Covington trade. Dave Dombrowski, now president of baseball operations, Sam Fuld is the general manager. But Dave reminds me so much of Pat Gillick in having this ability to fill in a ball club, bring in a Jason Worth, bring in Christian Pache. Look what he's, here was a guy, good field, no hit. Now it looks like he's starting to show that a little bit.
Kevin Long's got a knack, I think.
Jose Alvarado, he picks up from Tampa. Look at the great job he's done out of the bullpen for the Phillies. Gregory Soto, an all-star from Detroit. Craig Kimbrell looks like he's starting to pitch like the Craig Kimbrell, who was one of the best relief pitchers in baseball for 15 years.
Yep,
and,
exactly.
How important, Tommy, is a general manager to the team?
Well, I mean, obviously he's the one pulling the trigger on stuff and trying to get, he's always trying, I think a general manager is trying to make his ball club better if they can possibly do that under the constraints they have. I know Lee Thomas, for us, I call him Mad Dog. He had the personality. He was he could be a fiery guy, but also, I mean, the way I looked at that stuff, you knew where you stood with GMs and coaches like that, because there weren't no sugarcoating and around the edges with them. You knew exactly where you stood, and that's, as a ball player, I valued that. I knew what I needed to do to be better, what I needed to do to stay here, and to be a better big league player in a team, as far as a teammate to my team, but when they got a chance to pull the trigger and do some things, I know what Lee did it with our teams and brought some of the guys in for on our 93 squad with Milt Thompson and Pete Incavilla, Jim Eisenreich, and guys like that, that fill in and make the team the team. And for us to do it, what we did with 3 platoons, working during the course of that year, that was pretty impressive. That was unselfish baseball, and he knew the type of guys he was getting were those type of guys. And I think that goes a long way with the GM, knowing the type of player he's getting and it's going to fit into that clubhouse.
Yeah, well,
it's time for our last commercial break, and then we'll be back with the concluding segment of tonight's Independence Blue Cross Bull Session. Sorry.
Hi, it's Pete from Chicky and Pete's. It's all new and it's all for you. The heated deck at Chicky and Pete's on the Boulevard is now open. It's enclosed, heated, and perfect for the ultimate in-game experience or live music when the best local bands take the stage. Like LeComte, Fat Mez, or Jameson. Check our website for the band schedule. The heated deck at Chicky and Pete's on the Boulevard is now open every Thursday through Sunday. Chickies and Pete's.
Millions of Americans are losing their medical assistance or Medicaid coverage. If this affects you, Independence Blue Cross can help. You may be eligible to enroll in a health plan for as little as $0 a month. With Independence Blue Cross, you get the largest provider network in the area, including most Keystone First doctors and hospitals. We also offer free 24/7 telemedicine, coverage for hospital stays and prescriptions. See if you qualify for $0 health insurance and enroll today. Call Independence Blue Cross at 1-844-464-2583 or visit ibx.com/staycovered.
If you're looking for a stylish and sophisticated fine dining experience, visit your Eddie V's Prime Seafood restaurant near King of Prussia. Eddie V's Seafood features an abundant selection of fine wines and curated cocktails to complement exquisite steaks and seafood made from the highest quality ingredients. In the V Lounge, sip on imaginative handcrafted cocktails with attitude while enjoying signature appetizers. Conveniently located between I-276 and I-76 near the King of Prussia Mall. Call them today, 610-337-7823 to schedule your night out for Eddie V's Prime Seafood.
There really is nothing like a home team advantage. That's why Team Toyota makes a great choice for your next vehicle purchase or service. With our MVP pricing guarantee, teammate rewards program, and streamlined customer experience, our award-winning operation ensures that you can trust our process. A home team advantage is nothing without the community. Our employees are part of our family, part of your town, and we're all part of the team. We're always here for you at one of our 3 locations in Princeton, Langhorne, and Glen Mills, or at teamtoyota.net.
A truly unique dining experience awaits you at Fogo de Chão. Fogo de Chão awes patrons with their history and tradition of authentic Brazilian steakhouse, offering many cuts of decadent fire-roasted meats prepared over an open fire and served tableside by trained gaucho chefs. Fogo de Chão, 1337 Chestnut Street in Center City, Philadelphia. For reservations, go to www.fogo.com or call 215-636-9700.
We now return to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session. Once again, here are your hosts, Phillies PA announcer Dan Baker and Tommy Greene.
Hey, everybody, and Tommy and I are joined tonight by former Phillies outfielder Doug Clemens. Doug played with the Phillies from 1966 to 1968. He looks terrific. His wife looks terrific. And I guess, like Tommy and I, you married up, Doug, huh?
I can say I know I did. I know I did.
College sweetheart.
Well, you're a wonderful couple. And, Doug, it's always great to see you. Focusing on the 2023 baseball season, the Phillies are playing very well lately. And look, for all the while like they're going to make a run like they did last year. In front of them, of course, those Atlanta Braves that we talked about, who remain hot. They've been hot practically the whole season. The Miami Marlins, for heaven's sakes.
How about that? Yeah.
You know, they're 3 games in front of the Phillies. Now, the Mets are struggling despite having Scherzer and Verlander at the top of their staff. Where is this NL East going, Tommy Greene?
Well, I mean, you look at it. Just take a step back and look at it. The Braves, I don't necessarily – they have a few injuries, but with us and the Mets, I think the big thing was the health of the team. They got hit – some of their big guys got hit they were counting on, and same thing with us. I think we're really, over the course of this – season so far, we're missing that production that Reese Hoskins at first base. They're missing that power. That's a huge thing. You got a guy to hit over 30 home runs, and it's hard to replace that. That's some things that happen. We're winning some ball games because he's swinging the bat like that. He's part of that. So it comes down to health, and I think us getting healthy at the right time. We just got a little bit of a blow to our bullpen with Sir Anthony going down with an oblique injury, and you never know how long those things are going to hang on, because we really need that. We really need our pitching to right now stay where it's at, especially the 4 starters away. I mean, they're throwing Nola can bend a little better, but hey, back in the day, I mean, when I pitched with my group of guys that were there, I looked at it. If 3 of the 5 guys were rolling pretty good, I mean, if you're winning those games 3 out of 5 times over the course of the season, that's a good year. You're looking. So it's not going bad at the bad time. It's called a team. They pick each other up. I think the big thing with the Phillies, they got to come up with somebody in the 5th starter spot that can give them the innings. To get them, because that bullpen, no matter how many guys you have down there, at the end of the season, you keep throwing them out there in the 5th inning, 4th inning all the time and running, they're going to be wore down at the end of the year, and that's when you're going to need them the most, because we do have those extra layers of playoffs. You got to get in. I mean, if you do, but that's a huge thing.
Is that fifth starter going to come via a trade, or do you think he's in-house already?
That's a tough question. I thought it was going to be in-house. You know, I really thought it was a big game the other day. They brought Sanchez up. He did a great job doing that. I mean, what he did. He's been back and forth for us a little bit, but sometimes that happens a little bit. You know, why can't it be him? And I just hope that he got hit off the hand, you know, and he had to come out after that. But, I mean, he showed me something. Those last, couple outs of that inning, he had to punch out. He made a couple pitches that, they end up the next inning putting another pitcher in. But he showed me something in that game a little bit. His stuff's there. He's a pitcher. I'd like to see that guy, that door open for him to stick that foot in there and keep it from shut there so it comes from within. Now, if they get the opportunity to get somebody and they want to spin it, they need to do something, then. If the opportunity presents itself to get a quality guy, to do that, because that right there is going to give, it can push you over the top and make that starting rotation, that way everybody don't have to be clicking on all the cylinders all the time. You have somebody else that can do that and give you that third possible starter that's rolling.
Doug,
I saw Sanchez get hit on the hand the other day that we're talking about now, and that could have been really severe. That ball came off the bat about 103 miles an hour, and it hit him flush on the side of the hand. And I'm assuming X-rays were taken and they're negative. I would hope so.
I haven't heard anything,
but there's a guy that struck out the next batter after he threw the first one on the screen. Practically, he struck out the next batter, and that's a kind of intestinal fortitude you have to play the game. And it's a matter of just putting everybody kind of having a decent year. I remember in 1960 the Pittsburgh Pirates won. They didn't have a great team, but they won the National League. Then they played the Yankees. The Yankees scored 64 runs in that series. Pittsburgh scored 14 or 15 runs, and they won the World Series.
1960.
It's amazing, timely.
Pitching beats good hitting. Good pitching beats good hitting.
Well, I mean, back to Sanchez after he got hit, I thought it kind of fired him up a little bit. You saw when he got out of that inning, punched out the last guy he did, you saw the emotion. He was pitching with a little bit more fire, I think, it come out of it. And I think that would be one of the things I know if I was, around him, it would say, hey, you know how you were feeling right there? How you channeled in and do that? That's what you got to be pretty much every time you take the mound. Don't get too lackadaisical. You got to pitch with that fire. When you cross with that line, you got to learn how to go and channel that in, just like you did right there. It's there. There's no reason why you can't do it more often.
I was so glad to see Junior Marte step up yesterday when Sir Anthony, sustained the injury. He looked pretty impressive.
They're going to need him. They're going to need a guy because he's got great stuff. There's no question about the stuff. It's the intangibles around that to get him to hone it in and be more consistent. Not missing over the middle of the plate. It's just he's got to go out there and do it and get that confidence. The other day he come in, he ended up saving the ball game, and that goes in his corner of I can do this, I belong here, and that's a huge thing.
I missed that game yesterday. I was playing golf with my son on Father's Day, and he's listening to the program tonight. Hi, Ted. Yeah, so we had a great time yesterday, and out at Doylestown Country Club.
Oh yeah.
I've been a member there for 35 years, and it's a great spot, beautiful area of the state.
You said something to me, Doug, off air about the way the game is right now compared to, you were in favor of some of the rules they put in. Correct?
Right now.
Yeah, right now.
Absolutely.
Explain a little bit. Yeah, because I got my theory about some stuff that I do like and then I don't like.
I think the whole thing they tried to do was speed up the quality of the game because batting gloves, the batters are up there. They got to fix the strap on both hands every time they're up there. They got to step out of the box. They got to hit the cleats with the bat. There are so many intangibles that you can point at and say, my God, why is this game taking 3 hours and 14 minutes on average? Right now, those games are taking about 2 hours and 35 or 40 minutes. So they picked up about a half hour.
Yeah.
The clock, the speeding of the pitchers have to be in there in 15 seconds with nobody else on or 20 seconds with somebody on. The infield, you've got to have two guys on both sides of the infield. And frankly, from a hitter's point of view, I like that because I used to hit to all fields, and there are a lot of guys that are dead pull hitters, and like a Schrober, for a lot of times he's a dead pull hitter. But I think it's wonderful that they have done what they have done. I don't see any drawback. What about the size of the bases? They've increased the size of the bases, so the guys getting to the base about a split second sooner.
They're trying to induce more running, like we did back in the day. I mean, it was speed kills, and that's what it is. And some of the things, I mean, like you're saying, is with the pitch clock. There's sometimes, the way I was taught pitching was we got control. Sometimes everything starts going awry out there, and sometimes you had to be able to go. I need to take a step off and stuff and not be under too much of a time. I need that extra 5 or 10 seconds to gather my thoughts and reinforce the positive what I need to do, rather than have to worry about a pitch clock all the time. Now, what I'm saying is, I like the time the way it's going. I would like it to be pushed to maybe a 20-second, and then a 25 or something like that. That extra 5 is huge. To gather yourself.
We're going to have to conclude on that statement.
Okay.
The show has been so interesting, Doug Clemens and Tommy Greene, thanks to you, that we have run out of time. Now, next Monday, we're going to be at Chickies and Pete's on the Boulevard. Gary Matthews is going to be my co-host next Monday from 6 to 7, Monday, June 26th on WBCB 1490 AM. And 107.3 FM. Our thanks to Tommy Greene and Doug Clemens. I'm Dan Baker, and our thanks to producer Chris Ermer. Good night, everyone.
You've been listening to the Independence Blue Cross Bull Session. Tonight's show is an exclusive presentation of 1490 WBCB.